African American in Civil War. Freedom, enslavement in America involved many and long and difficult struggles, slaves, rebellion, attempts to escape, and even fighting and dying in a bloody war between the states. The number of African Americans that fought was approximately a quarter million. That would include U.S. colored troops, African Americans fighting in volunteer units, and the U.S. Navy. The number of African Americans that lost their lives during the Civil War were approximately 40,000, but the wartime sacrifice did not end a struggle for freedom and equality. The admission of black troops began a new chapter for freedom, equality, and justice. When the Civil War began, it was not legal for American men to join the army. In 1792, Congress banned the enlist of black men into the Federal Army. In July of 1872, Congress gave President Lincoln the authority to recruit men from American descent into the Federal Army. But how the African Americans were convinced to fight in the Civil War? What were their promises? How do they fight? And most importantly, what do they gain? How does the enslaved Americans receive the news that they now had the opportunity to fight and win his freedom? With wild enthusiasm would be the words used by John S. Rock, the first African American to be admitted to the Supreme Court. It was with wild enthusiasm that the enslaved Americans could now join the army and fight for his freedom, but the freedom of his own family. They could become the great emancipators, the great liberators of his own family. This was an opportunity of a lifetime. Two of the first recruits were Charles Douglas and Louis Douglas, who both enlisted on the 54th Regiment, that was the first organized in February 1853. Louis Douglas was quite skilled when he got there, and he became a sergeant from the 54th Regiment. The order from the War Department published in May of 1863 a separate bureau of the U.S. Army. The separate bureau of the U.S. Army is where all the soldiers have to check in to service. So even the 54th Regiment, which retained a state designation, was brought to the bureau of the U.S. colored troops. Although the soldiers were not treated equally, yet they performed distinction. The courage on the battlefield really changed the opinion of many Americans of European descent, because it was very clear after watching all those black soldiers that they could, in fact, fight. President Lincoln said that the war could not have been won without the help of the colored troops. How are these freedom fighters remembered today? In 1998, Dr. Frank Smith Jr. he dedicated the African American Civil War memorials as a tribute to those brave men. It's amazing how these American freedom fighters, from slavery to freedom and liberators of their own family, they abolished slavery and established democracy. In fact, all Americans should be grateful to these Americans who make possible for them today in good faith to praise our religion of a divisible republic, a republic they help keep together with liberty and justice for all.